You know how it is, that constant battle to just be away from your phone.
Yeah.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Come Internet With Me, the gentle web show about browsing the internet together. I'm the JMO, and don't forget to like and subscribe down below. And you can also find a link to all of the things that we see and visit in the show in the blog post that will be linked in the box below too. You can support the show at comeinternetwith.me/support. Let's find out who today's guest is. Sarena Ulibarri. Make that bigger. Sarena is a fiction writer who lives in New Mexico. She attended the Clarion Workshop at UCSD in 2014 and earned an MFA in creative writing at the University of Colorado, Boulder. Her fiction has appeared in magazines such as Lightspeed, Dreamforge, Weird Book, and Giganotosaurus, as well as the anthologies such as Biketopia, Feminist Bicycle, Science Fiction Stories in Extreme Futures, and The Gamer Chronicles. She's the editor-in-chief of World Weaver Press. Sarena, would you like to come internet with me?
I would, thank you.
Hiya, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
It's quite early there, but what have you been up to so far today, away from your keyboard?
Yeah, so I got out my notebook with plans to write, and then I ended up on Twitter instead. So I'm gonna have to go back and do my, I am actually doing NaNoWriMo as well this month. But yeah, I need to go back and finish my word count sometime later.
Get it done before midday. Otherwise it's looms for the rest of the day, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. When you write, do you try and do like 300 words a day on stuff normally, or?
Yeah, I mean, even now I'm doing NaNoWriMo, I'm not actually hitting like NaNoWriMo word count. I'm still kind of doing about what I normally do. The only difference is I'm managing to do it every day.
Yeah.
So I average around like 1,000, maybe 1,200 words per day. And I draft by hand, which also makes NaNoWriMo hard to really, my word count's not exactly accurate because I'm not going to sit there and go 1, 2, 3, so I draft by hand and then I revise on the computer.
So what's your workflow like? Do you then type it up as an edit?
Yeah, so I draft by hand and then I sort of revise as I type, and then I print it out and then I like read through and revise by hand too, and then I type that in. So it's not exactly the most efficient process, but it's kind of where it works for me.
Fair enough. Well, that is really interesting. Thanks for sharing. So, what topic? I'm quite looking forward to today. What topic have you brought for us to browse?
Yeah, so a couple weeks ago, I was watching Jeopardy, and there was a clue that was like, this sea creature could be the key to solving climate change because it absorbs X amount of carbon or something along those lines. And the answer was, what are jellyfish? And I thought, now I want to know everything about jellyfish and how jellyfish are going to save the world.
Okay, that sounds awesome. Shall we start off with just jellyfish on Wikipedia?
Sure. And like, where do they live? Because I've never actually seen a jellyfish in real life, only at the aquarium. But I live in the desert, so
yeah.
But my whole experience of the ocean is California and Hawaii, and I've never seen jellyfish in either of those places. So
I think they're a sign of a damaged ecosystem, aren't they? Jellyfish.
I don't know.
Well, let's
let's find out.
Jellyfish and sea jellies are informal common names given to the Medusa phase of certain gelatinous members of the Subfurium Mediozoa, a major part. All of these really need common names. Jellyfish are mainly free-swimming marine animals with umbrella-shaped bells and trailing tentacles. Although a few are anchored to the seabed by stalks rather than being mobile. Oh, that's interesting. A bell can pulsate, providing propulsion for highly efficient locomotion. The tentacles are armed with stinging cells and may be used to capture prey and defend against predators. Jellyfish have a complex life cycle. The Medusa Yeah, Medusa is normally the sexual phase, which provides pannular larvae that disperse widely and enter a sedentary polyp phase before reaching sexual maturity. Jellyfish are found all over the world, from surface waters to deep sea.
True jellyfish.
Scyphozoa are exclusively marine class of Phylum Cynadra, referred to as the true jellyfish, and may include the extinct fossil group. We should have a look at them. The exclusively marine, but some there's a lot of uncommon names. Large, often colorful jellyfish are common in coastal zones worldwide. Jellyfish have been in existence for at least 500 million years and possibly 700 million years or so, making them the oldest multi-organ animal group. Jellyfish are eaten by humans in certain cultures. They are considered a delicacy of some Asian countries. Australian researchers have described them as a perfect food, sustainable and protein-rich, but relatively low calorie.
Interesting.
Solar punk novel about scooping up all the jellyfish and it gets turned into like Soylent jellyfish or something. They're used in research where the green fluorescent protein is sometimes used by some species called bioluminescence, has been adapted as a fluorescent marker for genes inserted into other cells and organisms. There's like glowing rats and stuff, isn't there? Mm. Stinging cells used by a jellyfish to subdue their prey can injure humans. Many thousands of swimmers are stung every year, with effects ranging from mild discomfort. When conditions are favorable, jellyfish can form vast swarms, which can be responsible for damage to fishing gear by filling fishing nets and sometimes clog the cooling systems of power and desalination plants, which draw their water from the sea.
Okay, wow. So that could be a conflict in a solar punk story. Yep. A jellyfish clogging your desalination plant.
Yep. The only solution is to rewild the seabed.
Or collect them and turn them into sustainable food.
Yeah, exactly. A group of jellyfish is called a smack. That's quite cool. What are the names? The term jellies or sea jellies are more recent, having been introduced by public aquaria in an effort to avoid using the word in an effort to avoid use of the word fish in its modern connotation with the animal with a backbone. Those shellfish, cuttlefish, and starfish are not vertebrates either. Yeah, exactly. The scientific literature, jelly and jellyfish have been used interchangeably. Many sources refer to only scyphozoans as the true jellyfish. These are these ones that I already opened the thing. I'll look at the picture.
Oh, that's pretty fancy.
Oh, it doesn't go any bigger than that.
I think it's the moon jellies that we have at the Albuquerque Aquarium. It's kind of, they have like a dark, like their tank is in the dark and they kind of glow and they're all just like sort of in there. I think those are the moon jellies, but I'm not sure.
They've existed since the Cambrian to the present, these guys.
Amazing.
Most species of scyphozoa have two life history phases: the plankton, medusa, or jelly form, which is most evident in the warm summer months, and the inconspicuous but longer-lived bottom-dwelling polyp. There's a lot of those on Twitter, which seasonally gives rise to new medusae. Most of the large, often colorful and conspicuous jellyfish found in coastal waters throughout the world are scyphozoa. Anatomy. Oh, wow. Look at this thing. Sorry, I got distracted by the developmental stages.
Oh, that's cool.
So it starts off as that and then connects to the... Wow, that's crazy. I had no idea.
Oh, interesting.
And then it turns into this thing and then...
It like breaks off.
I think there's multiple of them that break off of this one thing.
Wow.
Maybe we should read the life cycle. Anatomy. They have no hard, durable parts. The mouths open to a central stomach in which 4 interconnected diverticuli radiate outwards. In many species, there's further elaboration by a system of radial canals. Right, so reproduction. Many species appear to be gonchorists. Unisexualism describes the state of having just one or at least 2 distinct sexes in any one individual organism. Okay. They have separate male and female individuals. The gonads are located in the stomach lining, and the mature gametes are expelled through the mouth. After fertilization, some species brood their young in pouches or on the oral arms before they are most commonly planktonic. The fertilizer egg produces a pannular larva in most species. The larvae develops into the hydroid stage of the life cycle, which isn't listed in that list down there. The cystoma, these words are crazy, reproduces asexually, providing similar polyps by budding and then either transforming into a medusa or budding several medusae off of its upper surface via a process called strabulation. Strabulation is a form of asexual reproduction consisting of spontaneous transverse segmentation of the body. That's really interesting. The medusae are initially microscopic, and it may take years to reach sexual maturity.
Yeah, like in that moon jelly aquarium that I was talking about. Like you see tiny little ones just floating around too. Like they're just little mini ones.
So mapping to taxonomic groups, we're back to just the initial jellyfish. Comb jellies. They're the ones we were looking at. And then there's these guys. I like how Wikipedia just has like question marks for stuff. Common misconceptions. And then there's all these different types of jellyfish. Well,
jeez,
okay. The fossil history, that should be good. Since jellyfish have no hard parts, fossils are rare. The oldest condylarid is a poorly understood fossil group that has possible affinity with Syndria. Their exact position as a taxon of the extinct medusans. Well, okay. Members are commonly referred to. Okay. So they appear between 635 and 577 million years ago in the Neoproterozoic of the Lantian Formation in China. Others are found in the youngest Ediacaran rocks of the Tumengo Formation in Brazil. Anatomy. That's a guide to fossil invertebrates. So that's the anatomy of a jellyfish. And there it is in its, what's it called? Fossil form.
Fossil form.
Interesting. Largest and the smallest. Jellyfish range from 1 millimeter to about height and diameter to nearly 2 meters. I wonder how old they have to be like 2 meters wide.
I don't know. And does it depend on like, the size, like the space that they have available? Some fish will only grow, to the size of their tank.
Yeah. Like goldfish can get really big.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The rarely encountered deep sea jellyfish, Sigmojusa giganta, is another candidate for the largest jellyfish, with its thick, massive bell up to 100 centimeters or 3 foot 3 inches wide and 4 thick. Strack-like oral arms extending up to 6 meters in length, very different from the typical fine thread-like tentacles that ran an umbrella of a more typical looking jellyfish, including the lion's mane. When I think of a jellyfish, I always think of something like that. Mm. Although where I grew up, we used to get these ones by the sea that were probably about like this big, right? Like 5 inches. And they always used to come in on like the high tides in summer, and it'd sting you because they'd always be stuck in the seaweed and you'd be walking along, get stung. It's life cycle. We read about this earlier, but is there anything about lifespan? Little is known about the life histories of many jellyfish, as the places on the seabed with a benthic. Imagine an autobiography written from a jellyfish's point of view.
I mean, imagine if they could, transfer culture the way that like whale song does. They've been around for 200 million years. The history of the jellyfish. Yeah, right.
Maybe that's the movement of their tentacles is just a dance.
It could be.
It doesn't actually say how. It just says little is known about how long they live for. So the diet, feed on planktonic organisms. I wonder if they get if they're like troubled by microplastics. As
Probably.
well. They feed on microplankton, algae. Others harbor mutualistic algae, zoophanthelia, in their tissues. The spotted jellyfish is a typical of these, deriving part of its nutrition from the product of photosynthesis as part of captured zooplankton. That's cool. Other species of jellyfish are among the most common and important jellyfish predators. Sea anemones may eat jellyfish that drift into their range. Other predators include tunas, sharks, swordfish, sea turtles, and penguins. Jellyfish washed up on the beach are consumed by foxes and other terrestrial mammals and birds. In general, however, few animals prey on jellyfish. They can broadly be considered to be top predators in the food chain. Once jellyfish have become dominant in an ecosystem, for example, through overfishing, which removes predators of jellyfish larvae, there may be no obvious way for previous balance to be restored. They eat fish, eggs, and juvenile fish. Wow. And compete with fish for food, preventing fish stocks from recovering. This is good background. We should then look at how jellyfish are going to save the world.
Right.
Some small fish are immune to the stings of jellyfish. Jellyfish blooms. Oh, there's a whole article on it. Yeah, this is a bit more eco horror.
Right.
Jellyfish blooms are substantial growths. Blooms may take place naturally as a result of ocean and wind patterns, ecosystem shifts, and jellyfish behaviors, although their occurrence is thought to have been increasing due to the last several decades in nearshore regions and shallow seas across the globe. Changes in ocean conditions, including eutrophication, hypoxia, and rising ocean temperatures, and coastal development, amongst others, are thought to be the main cause of increasing jellyfish blooms. Little is known regarding how future environmental conditions will affect jellyfish blooms, though this is a growing field of study, of research.
This is kind of like what you were saying, that they're a sign of like a damaged ecosystem then.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like I had this idea for a game, like a solarpunk resource management game, that was sea otters have to eat sea anemones. Sea anemones? Well, the big spot, yeah, the ones that eat kelp. Not sea anemones. What are they? The
urchins.
Sorry.
Urchins?
Urchins. Yes, they're like the top predator of sea urchins. And if the sea urchins come and eat all of the kelp forests, then that's when you get jellyfish. Because but I was gonna, someone on Twitter actually suggested it, but I've got like it's a resource management game about balancing ecosystems basically, but the game was going to be called Kelping Hands.
That's cute.
I thought it was sort of like quite a good name, but it hadn't occurred to me like to put jellyfish in it as well. They could be like the big boss. Causes. Jellyfish bloom is defined by a substantial increase in jellyfish population. Okay, eutrophic, blah, blah, blah. Spring and summer months typically have more jellyfish blooms because of the warmer temperatures that cause jellyfish to reach sexual maturity more quickly. Rising ocean temperatures may also contribute to increasing jellyfish populations. Overfishing of jellyfish predators increases jellyfish populations from the top down. For example, reduced competition for small pelagic fish in the Black Sea due to fishing has led to an apparent increase in polyp proliferation. Coastal development has also created physical changes in coastal ecosystems that favor rapid jellyfish growth. Hard structures provide more space for jellyfish poppets to adhere to and develop on. Floating artificial structures increase shaded substrate between 10,000 and 1,000 jellyfish polyps per square meter were directly or indirectly attached to artificial structures as counted in one investigation. Wow. Food web. The bloom of jellyfish populations can have significant effects on food web structures. Eating fish eggs, larvae, small eggs. For example, in 1999, the Choristoa melanstata bloom in the Bering Sea found that the bloom had consumed roughly 32% of the total zooplankton stock, which was nearly 5% of the annual secondary production in the region. In non-bloom conditions, zooplankton consumed by the jellyfish was less than 1%. Wow. So they're literally like the Borg or something. They're just going to come and consume everything, like when you see them.
Yeah, it sounds, I'm not sure the jellyfish are going to save the world anymore. I think they may just they may end up just ruling it.
That's all that's left. It's like a handful of humans and a sea full of jellyfish.
Right. That's a different post-apocalyptic world I hadn't considered before.
Jellyfish blooms may alter elemental cycling of carbon, nitrogen, and phosphorus in the ocean. As jellyfish populations increase, they consume organic material containing CN and P, becoming a net sink of organic compounds.
Okay, I think this is like what the thing was talking
their
about.
rapid growth, jellyfish may therefore reduce the organic material available to other organisms, since their gelatinous bodies are not consumed by many higher trophic level organisms. Jellyfish limit the trophic transfer of energy up the food chain, instead shifting the trophic transfer into the microbial community. Jellyfish can be one of the largest stores of biomass in the pelagic community during blooms. This makes them an important source of organic CNP. Large populations of jellyfish also mobilize inorganic CNP by moving different regions and emitting them through the excretion, mucus production, and decomposition. One contingency on how jellyfish blooms affect their environment depends on whether they possess the symbiotic algae called zooxanthellae. Jellyfish with zooxanthellae obtain organic CNP through translocation through their symbiont. Okay, so that's the photosynthesis, guys and gals. Zoo gives jellyfish the advantage where organic matter is in short supply by producing their own nutrients. By creating the jellyfish produces mucus rich in organic CNN. Mucus produced by the zooxanthellae jellyfish is lower in organic nitrogen. Jellyfish blooms are generally short, collapsing from food limitations, changes in water temperature or oxygen levels, or completing their life cycle. The death, sinking, and decomposition of jellyfish is rapid and leads to mass release of dissolved and particular organic and inorganic matter in the water column or seafloor, creating a significant source of food for the microbial community. Sinking and decomposition rates can vary for jellyfish depending on water temperature and depth. Some jellyfish decompose before reaching the seafloor, releasing organic matter into the water column, while others fall to the floor and decompose, enriching the sediment with organic matter. In some cases, jellyfalls are too large for the consumption, and organic matter accumulates on the seafloor, creating a physical barrier for the diffusion mechanisms, reducing oxygen transport into sediments. The result is an increase in ammonium in the surrounding water from bacterial remineralization. Wow, this is actually really interesting. Impacts on humans. Large jellyfish blooms can disrupt fisheries, which we already have seen. Blooms generally coincide with the decrease in fish catch, which results in decreasing profits and fewer jobs. Thanks, Wikipedia. Large blooms also compromise fishing nets and overwhelm gear. In contrast, some blooms can potentially benefit commercial fisheries. One example is found in the Chesapeake Bay estuary. Where's that? Where is Chesapeake? The largest estuary in the United States. Wow. I did not know.
It's over on the East Coast. I have no idea what happens over there. It's the same country, but it's way over there. I have no idea.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that way about the north of the river in London.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Where were we? Benefits of jellyfish. The sea nettles are major predators of cynitophores, ravenous predators that compete with oysters. Commercial harvesting of jellyfish has grown in the Southeast Asia, primarily driven by the increased demand for jellyfish in some Asian cuisines. Jellyfish fisheries could be a strategy for controlling blooms, yet these fisheries still remain small scale and have yet to expand to markets outside of Asia. Negative effects of jellyfish blooms also felt in the aquaculture industry. Not a great industry in itself. Jellyfish occasionally find their way into the sea pens in the industrial fish farms and have recorded to injure and kill fish. 2011, a fish farm in Spain reported 50 grand's worth of profits lost due to fish mortality. Tourism. Tourism.
So there's like I wonder if this is the one where the jellyfish, they don't have the stingers, so you can just like swim. And it's not the ocean, it's like an inland lake, or it's like an island that is, has an inland lake, and the jellyfish have evolved with no predators. Is that what this is talking about? No.
No. Do you think this line is do you think this line was put in by like Big Jellyfish or something? Scientific articles that support abnormal jellyfish blooms are more attractive to mainstream media, causing a dramatization of jellyfish bloom events in the public eye. You think a jellyfish wrote this? This disproportionate coverage of bloom events changes public perception about the presence of jellyfish.
Probably a jellyfish scientist who has very strong opinions about it.
Questioning the rise of gelatinous zooplankton in the world's oceans. Yeah, that does actually have a ring to it, doesn't it? Jellyfalls, fishing. Okay, jellyfish. Habitats, freshwater. The best known freshwater example is the cosmopolitan hydrozoan jellyfish. It is less than an inch in diameter, colorless, and does not sting. There you go. That's like what you were saying.
I think this is the jellyfish lake. I think that's what it was.
Does it say where it is? No. Though most jellyfish live well off the ocean floor. Parasites. Jellyfish are host to a wide variety of parasitic organisms. Helminths. With an infection being transferred to a definitive host fish after predation. Oh, so you not only do you have to like avoid getting stung by a jellyfish, if you can predate it, then you're going to get poisoned by it. Okay. Fishery.
Those all look terrible.
Jellyfish have long been eaten in some parts of the world. We should have a look. It's like jellyfish are harvested for their collagen, which is being investigated use for a variety of applications, including treatment of rheumatoid arthritis.
Oh, that's cool.
Jellyfish as food. We should have a look at that. Some of the Aristotle stated in the Parts of the Animals 6 that jellyfish or sea nettles were eaten in winter, sometime in a fish stew. Traditional processing methods carried out by a jellyfish master involves a 20 to 40 day multi-phase process in which, after removing the gonads and mucous membranes, the umbrella and oral arms are treated with a mixture of table salt and alum compressed. Processing makes the jellyfish drier and more acidic, producing a crisp texture. Jellyfish prepared this way retain 7 to 10% of the original weight. The processed product consists of approximately 94% water and 6% protein. Freshly processed jellyfish has a white, creamy color and turns yellow or brown during the prolonged storage. In China, processed jellyfish are desalted by soaking in water overnight and eaten or cooked raw. The dish is often served shredded with a dressing of oil, soy sauce, vinegar, and sugar. Interesting. That's what they look like, rehydrated with jellyfish strips and soy sauce.
I'll try it.
Yeah. We've got, and at the bottom, we've got this bit. We had biotechnology. Okay, the fluorescent protein. I've already read about that. Fluorescent marker in genes. Aquarium displays.
Live jelly cam. If you just want just less like relaxing, like background, just watch the jelly cam, I guess.
Yeah, stick it on the big screen.
The ones in the Albuquerque one, they kind of go in like a circle. They kind of like.
Yeah, I was just reading here actually that they have to feature precise water flows, typically in secular tanks, to avoid trapping specimens in the corners. So you have to. Box jellyfish to treat jellyfish stings. Vinegar, but not stings of the Portuguese man-o-war, which I don't think is a jellyfish. My friend got stung by one when he was surfing in Asia, and he had, for years, he had like red scars on his chest.
Wow.
Yeah, like he thought he was going to die when he washed up on the beach.
Yikes.
Shout out, Tim. Hope you're watching. Also in Hawaii.
Huh.
It doesn't say that it's a jellyfish, though. I think it's something else. It just looks similar. It's like a different part, like different part of the same tree.
Right.
Has a venomous microscopic, which can deliver a painful sting, powerful enough to kill fish, and has been known to occasionally kill humans.
Wow.
Edible jellyfish. There we go. That's sesame oil and chili sauce over here. Seems like a lot of processing, though.
Yeah.
40 days.
Right.
Chinese cuisine for over 1,700 years. In 2001, the annual global harvest of edible jellyfish was estimated to be around 321,000 metric tons. Okay, well, let's have a look. Jellyfish save the... Will jellyfish save the earth? That was your original.
Right. Well, just, yeah, like what's their role in the like carbon sink and...
Jellyfish. Wow, they're the most dangerous jellyfish. Maybe we should search for a jellyfish carbon.
Yeah. Oh, jellyfish taking over the world. There we go.
Yeah, as thriving jellyfish, the thriving. Yeah, this is what the big jellyfish lobby was against, like the alarmist. Jellyfish thrive on pollution and climate change. Jellyfish Jellyfish are causing mayhem as pollution, climate change, global warming. Jellyfish thriving despite increasing climate change. Jellyfish could replace fish and chips. I know this is the Daily Mail, but at least I've got an ad blocker. This is going to be something unhinged. Or maybe not. Apologies to everyone that's watching this for being on the Daily Mail. Seafood items like fish or flake found on a menu, products battered and filleted, could be from an endangered creature. They have created a sustainable food guide. Let's have a look at this. Australia's Sustainable Seafood Guide. Loading. Oh, look, it's whether it's endangered or not. So this isn't loading. In fact,
years ago, I used to write a column on ethical consumption, and it was they were like short little articles, but I would always be looking at websites like that, and I wrote some articles on like sustainable seafood and things like that, and it was always like, you know, this company will have this amount of sustainable sourcing by this year or whatever, and it was always like, it always felt like, yeah, we're doing that. We'll get to it eventually. And I mean, now I think all those years that were, you know, far in the future back then have already passed or are about to. But yeah, that website was like, oh yeah, this is what I used to use for research for those articles, that kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. There was a lot of like greenwashing going on back then, you know, and like each company was sort of pressured to, you know, say, what are you doing for, you know, sustainability? And so they'd slap together a website like that.
Yeah. Jellyfish fight climate change. Fight against jellyfish petitions. Canoeists fight to paddle through a sea of jellyfish. Yeah, there is something Lovecraftian or like the cosmic horror. Like there is like eco horror of them. Mm-hmm. Let's just have a look at jellyfish and climate change and have a look what sort of images come up. Now we've got two of Jeff Bezos. They're all...
Is he a jellyfish?
Well, who knows? Who knows? That's interesting. It's Pinterest, though. It might not take us to the original article. No. Jellyfish are here early and staying longer. This robotic jellyfish could help save our reefs. That's cool. Okay. Let's go have a look at that.
That looks very solar punk.
Yep.
Squishy bot.
Good name, too. Collect information without harming reefs or distributing meat. With disturbing marine. The squishy robotic jellyfish can ride ocean currents and squeeze harmlessly into tight spaces. This was 2018. Give scientists a better tool for studying coral reefs and tracking their responses to waters warming. The robo jellyfish is made of soft rubber. Feels like a stress ball. I'm glad that they gave it like that tactile description. Has 8 battery-powered tentacles, siphon and expel seawater to propel the bot in a slow, almost hypnotic manner. So this doesn't normally work very well, but we could try and... Oh, we've been sent to Google Drive. Try and watch it. There's no noise. Oh, well, that's quite cool. Do you think it's I guess let's have a look at what sort of sensors it has in it. This is actually the second time that I've come across robot animals. The first one was with Lisa Blanning a couple of episodes ago. We came across robo crabs that was investigating hermit crab sexual reproduction and whether a bigger claw was better. They just had these robot claws. Like, yeah.
Huh. Is a bigger claw better?
I actually can't remember. The experiment was just so bizarre. It was very cool.
Right.
The robot was designed to measure water temperature and the salinity and information about the underwater environment without harming the reef. Does it say how long it can go out there for?
Oh, that's the Scripps Institution of Oceanography. That's right next to the Clarion Workshop. We used to walk over there. I mean, not like inside, but it was like
used to be opposite.
We'd walk past it to get to the cliffs that we would watch the sunset at.
The drone's noisy propellers. So that's why can gorge reef structures and scare marine life, said Dimitri Dehan. The robot jellyfish can protect human divers by keeping them out of hazardous underwater environments. Every time someone goes in the water, it's a risk. Shark attacks, drowning, decompression sickness. Have these autonomous systems that can monitor these rapidly changing areas. Prototypes store the information on board. It must be recovered. It'll be a few years before bots are ready to be deployed in the wild. Prototypes cost $200. Scientists have also experimented with robotic manta rays and robo-fishes. Wow. This robotic manta ray may speed up underwater search and rescue. Can swim for 10 hours. That's cool. The manta droid.
Manta droid. That's awesome.
Yeah, this is from 2017. I mean, who needs to write near future sci-fi when you can just like have the manta droid in your story?
Right. I mean, that's kind of what I'm always telling like solar punk writers, like, look at what already exists and just like highlight that.
Yeah.
You don't even need to make stuff up half the time. It's just like those real niche stuff. Yeah. It's not, manta droids aren't like mainstream and swimming in every, river, but they're a thing apparently.
Do you not think that some of that naming is somewhat like goes down to the prevalence of cyberpunk though? Oh no, you've crashed.
The manta droids were too much.
Yeah, too much.
Over the computer.
Let's go have a look at the robo-fish. Manta droid has less environmental impacts on marine ecosystems. I'm going to put sensors in it. Ranger Danger, a killer robot that could protect the Great Barrier Reef. Rangerbot can identify coral-eating starfish and inject them with a deadly poison.
Wow.
Wow. I mean, these things have got to be autonomous, though. Like, you're going to have to use AI and machine vision and all sorts of stuff on a...
Murder fish bot.
I wasn't expecting this when I was going to read about the robo-fish. It's a killer robot with a good heart. After years of development and testing, researchers in Australia are preparing to launch an autonomous underwater drone designed to help safeguard the Great Barrier Reef, a mission that includes neutralizing with a lethal injection coral-eating starfish, species of starfish that threatens the reef's health.
Nothing could go wrong with this.
The briefcase-sized robot has a vision system. Crown of thorns starfish. I know about that from Animal Crossing. Devastate large tracts of the reef. The robot, which uses thrusters to move around. Imagine when they're all combined and it's like a manta death bot. Once identification is confirmed, Rangerbot can instigate an injection that is fatal for a crown of thorns starfish, but doesn't affect anything else on the reef. In addition to killing pesky starfish, Rangerbot is designed to help monitor the reef's health by creating 3D maps that can reveal changes in the ecosystem. Now I want to see if there's any like LiDAR maps of coral reefs. I'm gonna have a look, see if there's any cool. Mapping methods. Sugarcane farmers protect the Great Barrier Reef. That looks interesting. I honestly don't think jellyfish are going to be saving the world at any time soon, by the way, just to like come back to the jellyfish.
Yeah, no, it sounds like they're going to take over the world. It's interesting though that like they'll thrive in climate change. I mean, probably to the detriment of a lot of other things.
Yeah. Will jellyfish rule the
world?
world? Awesome. A book about climate change. What makes the Earth so special? How scientists know for sure our climate is changing and why it's a big deal for everyone. And what we can do now to make a difference. Green expert Leo Hickman is ready to answer all your questions. Will jellyfish rule the world? Breaks down the causes and effects of climate change in a fresh, fun, and easy to follow format. I wonder what the age that's aimed at.
If you scroll down, usually it says an age range somewhere. No, maybe not.
Kids' environmental books. It's quite high up, like within the top 2,000 there. Yeah, children's books.
Yeah, the paperback might have the age range on it, actually.
Da-na-na-na.
Nope.
No customer reviews.
Bummer. It's a great illustration on the cover, though.
yeah, exactly. I wonder if there's any jellyfish memes.
It's gotta be.
I mean, there's
memes for everything. Jellyfish.
Yeah. Hello, I was good. This is jackass. Not sure if jellyfish are raspberry. That's really bad. Jellyfish useless. What does this say? This is from scientists still haven't found a purpose for these guys. Weak. They pretty much fall apart when you touch them. Dicks, they're always stinging people for no reason. They don't have brains. I think maybe they eat sand, unmotivated. They don't do anything. They just float around. They are the stoners of the sea. The fact that jellyfish have survived for 650 million years despite not having brains is great news for stupid people. Oh dear. If jellyfish would wear pants, would they wear them like this or this? Well, jellyfish memes. Jellyfish use. Where is the jellyfish food I was looking up? Maybe we should go have a look at that. See if we would want to. Jellyfish food recipes.
Recipe.
Yeah.
I mean, there was something earlier that said that this was possibly a sustainable food source. I can't see how that's possible. I don't know.
I mean, it
takes so much processing.
Like, yeah, I mean, yeah. There's zero input, though, I guess, in many ways.
Mm.
Sesame jellyfish recipe.
Any of the recipes are going to have a big story in front of them about the person's personal experience with jellyfish first before you get to the recipe, right?
No, well, actually, the first one I click on doesn't actually have that. It goes straight into the recipe.
Wow. What website is this going to remember? Okay.
Just food.com. Yeah, everyone else is like, me and my family go for long walks along the beach, usually at sunset, blah, blah, blah. Like, One day I was stung by my jellyfish. And oh, how we laughed.
Yep.
Apparently that style of food blogging with recipes actually is like, it's actually a style and it's like not expected. And the reason is from like the mid 2000s way that the Google algorithm worked was that because it didn't, the algorithm didn't like just recipes in tables because it would be like the same as every other recipe, basically. So people had to start food blogging in that way in order to gain SEO. And also also like blogging in general is all about building your brand, isn't it? So,
Sure, of course.
But yeah, so strange though that like that's the reason why you have to scroll through 500 words of family life to get to a recipe.
15-year-old search engine optimization.
Yeah. To prep jellyfish, rinse very well in cold water and drain. Put in a stainless steel bowl and cover with boiling water for 15 minutes or until tender. Then drain, rinse with cold water for 6 minutes.
It doesn't seem too complicated.
You can soak them in the frig, but change the water every hour or so.
Oh, well, that's a lot.
That's a lot of prep work. Oh, wow. Kitchen Ninja 3502. Oh, you see, like it was it was the salted jellyfish that we read about.
That's cheating.
I like how there's keto like adverts. Yeah, it looks like it's fried chicken.
Fried chicken and jellyfish.
That's jalapeno jelly.
Why you should be eating jellyfish.
All right, SBS. Man, Australia really like has a lot of jellyfish content. If you can't beat them, eat them. A bunch of Italian scientists are trying to convince people to add jellyfish to their diet. There's no way to eradicate jellyfish blooms. Stefano Piranio, a zoology professor at the University of Salento in Italy, tells SBS Food. So it's worth transforming a problem into an opportunity. Jellyfish population is increasing rapidly, including the Mediterranean Sea, and is causing havoc around the world. Overpopulation has caused the shutdown of several power plants. Oh, look, there's actually a news article about that. Devils devastated ecosystems. Working on a suite of studies that analyze the population dynamics and compositions. His collaborators with biologist Anatolia Leone has begun a new one looking into the nutritional properties of the Mediterranean jellyfish species. It's part of the Go Jelly project. Now we're going deep. The 5 best times. I can't even believe it's a listicle.
This is so common that they have the 5 best times. Wow.
Yeah. Jellyfish shut down a nuclear power plant in Sweden this week, which you'd think might be big news, except the jellyfish shut down nuclear power plants a lot. Jellyfish clogs are a recurring problem, says the New York Times. Mr. Ostenberg noted that the plant had a similar episode in 2005. It's taken decades, but the jellyfish has perfected this guerrilla protest technique. Man, Grist's writing is like, its voice is... It's not clear if they've coordinated with Greenpeace or other groups, but Grist can report that the terrorist jellyfish actions have increased in size and frequency. 1937, jellyfish shut down a power plant in Australia. It takes them a while to realize what they can do with this power. They spend years clogging up and not stopping the filters in Japanese power plants before finally making their move. 1989, 4 million jellyfish were removed from a plant in Madras. They weighed about 80 tons. 1999, jellyfish blacked out the electricity for 40 million people in the Philippines after clogging up a coal-fired power plant. There's some conflict right there.
Right.
Thousands of jellyfish shut down a nuclear power plant on a US warship while it was docked in Brisbane. Man, they've really got it in for the Australian. This year, the jellyfish... 2011, the year that jellyfish started taking the work seriously, Scotland and Japan both suffered attacks. In Israel, power plant workers had to remove 100 tons of jellyfish. But like Douglas Adams says, don't panic. Wired talked to a jellyfish expert who said it wasn't a jellyfish plot. Exactly. We're a long ways from the jellyfish taking over the world, but humans are changing food webs in the ocean by our activities, Steinberg said. It's a big experiment, a big experiment. We don't know yet what the outcome is going to be. We need to be careful. Oh, that's worse. We're doing this to ourselves. maybe panic. Forget zombies, we should be fighting jellyfish. This is, yeah, I mean, I think the jellyfish alarmism is totally warranted. One kind of
jellyfish zombies?
One kind of jellyfish, which might be termed the zombie jelly, is quite literally immortal. When Pteroptosis dohonii dies, it begins to disintegrate, but something strange happens. A number of cells escape the rotting body. Those cells somehow find each other and regenerate to form a polyp. All of this happens within 5 days of the jellyfish death, and weirdly, it's the norm for the species.
So it breaks apart, and then the pieces of it find each other again.
Yeah.
And reform. What?
Okay, this is more climate change related causes. What have we got here? Jellyfish are taking over the seas, and it might be too late to stop them. Nuclear power plants sting a jellyfish in Northern Ireland, killed 100,000 salmon on the country's only salmon farm. 300 tons of jellyfish damaged intake screens at desalination plant, cutting its output by 50% in Oman. A 10-ton trawler capsized when the crew tried to haul a net full of Nomoroma's jellyfish, which can weigh 440 pounds each. Wow. Invasive jellyfish likely brought into the sea via the ship's ballast water wiped out 350 million fishing industry in the Black Sea in 1982. 2013 seemed to be like a big year for jellyfish.
Apparently.
I want to call it jellyfish alarmism, but it's not. Like, it's not at all. Oh, look, that was the photo that was on Pinterest.
Oh, that's true.
Japanese fishermen. It probably stems from pollution in China's Yangtze River. What are the photos? These are the guys that shut down the coal-fired power plant.
Wow.
It's one of those things that, like, when you first see it, you expect that picture to be Cthulhu.
Right.
But it's not. It's actually a jellyfish warning. What have we got here? Tiny as a matchstick. Yeah. That's a jellyfish bloom.
That's a lot of jellyfish.
That's the future.
Right. Apparently.
I wonder if vertical ocean farming stops jellyfish. Let's have a look if they've written anything. Do you know about green wave?
Not as much as I should.
Brent Smith's book, his autobiography that he wrote is absolutely fantastic. Green wave. Maybe I should put that in quotes. No, it doesn't look like it. No, it doesn't. Well, we've nearly been going for an hour at this point. Shall we? Is there anything else that you want to have a look? Oh, here's this immortal jellyfish. Maybe we'll end on that.
Okay. Yeah, so we went from jellyfish are going to save the world to jellyfish are going to take over the world.
Yeah,
so.
maybe that Jeopardy question was sponsored by Big Jellyfish.
I think so. Although, I mean, we saw some stuff earlier about how like they do absorb carbon, but it also seems like
it poisons the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not as interesting as the original time we found out about the immortal jellyfish. That was really good. I enjoyed learning about jellyfish a lot. And the robo fish.
Yeah, killer robo fish.
Yeah.
Well, the oceans are quite strange.
Yeah, I mean, that was really good, really fascinating. Thanks for that topic. What if you're still watching, you'll be able to find all the links to the things that we searched in the episode's blog post. They'll be linked through to the Arena channel. And Sarena, where can people find you on the internet? And what have you got going on coming up in your life at the moment?
Yeah, so I mean, you can find me at my website, which is just myname.com. You have to get all the vowels right, though. So the main thing that I have coming up is a short story and an anthology called And Lately the Sun. And Jay also has a story in that, so you definitely need to check it out. My story is called Inviting Disaster, and it takes place on the Kansas plains in a sort of climate changed world where tornadoes are ravaging the plains even more than they normally do. And people live in these like pod houses that retract into the ground whenever the tornado comes. So they still live out there so that they can like, you know, farm and stuff. But when the tornado comes, they just sink down into safety until one of them doesn't work the way it's supposed to. So that's that story. This seems like forever ago, but it was actually 2020 that this book came out, The Solar Punk Winters. So this is one of my anthologies that I edited. So I didn't write it, but I conceived of it and wrote and edited it. And there's actually a story with jellyfish in this. I realized as we were talking, it's the On the Contrary, Yes.
Yeah, there is, isn't there?
Yeah, where it takes place in that floating island outside of France. The fictional floating island, but yeah, there's a scene where they're jellyfish just roaming the streets. Well, there's like it's like rain with a chance of jellyfish or something like that. Anyway, there's jellyfish in that story. So, and then what I've been working on like all year, and I feel like I've been talking about it forever and it's still not quite ready to be out, is the Multi-Species Cities anthology with the Research Institute for Humanity and Nature. That's got stories from authors all over the world, Japan and Philippines and Singapore and like lots of places. So we kind of focused on like the Pacific region.
Awesome.
But
I'm really looking forward to that.
that's coming out eventually. We're still working on it, but it's almost ready to like put
awesome.
out.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming internet with me. It's been great.
You.
I'll put a link to all of those things in the show notes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Be well.
You too.